I didn't wake up because of an alarm. I woke up because the silence felt wrong. Normally at 6:10 a.m., my neighbor's truck coughs twice before starting. The school bus sighs to a stop at the corner. A dog barks 3 houses down like he's angry at the sunrise itself. Every day, the same pattern, annoying, predictable, alive. But that morning, nothing. No engines, no doors slamming, no morning radio drifting through open windows, just wind. I sat up slowly, thinking maybe I overslept. My phone was on the nightstand. 6:11 a.m., the exact time everything should have been loud. Instead, it felt like a snow day without the snow, the world holding its breath. Then I noticed my TV was on. I don't sleep with the TV on. Muted images flickered across the screen. A news anchor speaking fast, captions crawling at the bottom like they couldn't keep up with themselves. Reports increasing nationwide. Missing persons in multiple states. Authorities asking people to remain calm. I grabbed the remote and turned the volume up. We repeat, if you have family members unaccounted for, please contact local emergency services. Hospitals are experiencing unusual patient intake without identification. Transportation incidents are rising due to unmanned vehicles. The anchor stopped mid-sentence and pressed an earpiece. His eyes widened in a way you can't fake. My phone buzzed. Mom calling. I answered immediately. Mom? Only air. Not static, not background noise. Just open air, like a phone left on a table somewhere. Mom, I said louder. I didn't wake up because of an alarm. I woke up because the silence felt wrong. Normally at 6:10 a.m., my neighbor's truck coughs twice before starting. The school bus sighs to a stop at the corner. A dog barks 3 houses down like he's angry at the sunrise itself. Every day, the same pattern, annoying, predictable, alive. But that morning, nothing. No engines, no doors slamming, no morning radio drifting through open windows, just wind. I sat up slowly, thinking maybe I overslept. My phone was on the nightstand. 6:11 a.m., the exact time everything should have been loud. Instead, it felt like a snow day without the snow, the world holding its breath. Then I noticed my TV was on. I don't sleep with the TV on. Muted images flickered across the screen. A news anchor speaking fast, captions crawling at the bottom like they couldn't keep up with themselves. Reports increasing nationwide. Missing persons in multiple states. Authorities asking people to remain calm. I grabbed the remote and turned the volume up. We repeat, if you have family members unaccounted for, please contact local emergency services. Hospitals are experiencing unusual patient intake without identification. Transportation incidents are rising due to unmanned vehicles. The anchor stopped mid-sentence and pressed an earpiece. His eyes widened in a way you can't fake. My phone buzzed. Mom calling. I answered immediately. Mom? Only air. Not static, not background noise. Just open air, like a phone left on a table somewhere. Mom, I said louder. Nothing. Then the call ended. I threw on a hoodie and walked outside. The air felt heavy, not storm heavy, not humid, more like the atmosphere after church when people don't want to talk too loud. Across the street, Mr. Calder's truck was still parked crooked in his driveway, driver door open. His coffee cup sat upside down on the pavement, still steaming, but Mr. Calder was nowhere. I crossed the street slowly. My heart was beating harder than it should for a quiet morning. Hello? No answer. His dog sat in the yard, whining softly at the empty driveway, tail low like it understood something I didn't. Down the block, a car idled in the middle of the road, driver door wide open. A purse lay on the asphalt. Traffic lights changed pointlessly for nobody. And then I noticed the sky. The sunrise was wrong. It wasn't brighter, it was clearer, like someone cleaned the air itself. The colors were sharper than any morning I could remember. Gold felt alive. People began stepping out of their houses one by one, all wearing the same expression, confusion trying not to become fear. Mrs. Hernandez kept saying her husband was in the kitchen making toast. The toaster was still down. The bread was burning. He was gone. A teenager ran past holding his phone, screaming, "My sister was in the passenger seat. She was right there." Sirens started in the distance, not one or two, dozens. My phone buzzed again. A text from Daniel. "Bro, are your parents answering?" I typed fast. "Mom called but didn't talk. Something's wrong." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "My grandma's Bible is open on the table. Her glasses are on top of it. She's gone." A cold feeling climbed up my spine. His grandma didn't go anywhere, ever. Arthritis kept her in the same chair every day, reading the same worn pages, whispering prayers over everyone's names like she was taking attendance for heaven. I suddenly remembered what she always said when we left the house. "Stay ready, boys. One day it'll be faster than a blink." I never took that seriously. Nobody our age does. Helicopters passed overhead, low enough to rattle windows. The neighborhood gathered in the street, people calling names, checking houses, opening garages like answers might be parked inside. And then every phone around me vibrated at once. An emergency alert. Not the loud kind, the silent government text type. National notice. Unexplained global disappearances reported. Remain where you are. Await instructions. Someone whispered, "Disappearances?" Another person said it louder. And then nobody talked at all. Because deep down, every single one of us had just remembered the conversations we used to ignore. Church sermons we half listened to. Grandparents warning gently. Verses shared at funerals. The word nobody expected ever to actually matter. A man near me dropped to the curb and covered his mouth. "I mocked my wife. She told me. She told me." His voice broke. Wind moved through the street again, soft but steady. And for a moment, just a moment, it felt like the world had lost weight. Not empty, lifted. I looked up at the sky. High above the city haze, thin clouds stretched like paths instead of shapes. And I couldn't explain why, but I suddenly knew this morning wasn't a tragedy beginning. It was an event already finished, and we were the ones left after it happened. My phone buzzed again. "Daniel, turn on every channel. They're saying pilots vanished mid-flight, churches full of empty clothes, hospitals missing patients." Another message came immediately after. "Do you remember what my grandma always warned us about?" I stared at the screen but didn't type back. Because at that exact second, far away across the skyline, something bright flashed above the clouds. Not lightning, not aircraft, a vertical glow that appeared and faded before I could even point. Nobody else seemed sure they saw it, but my hands started shaking anyway. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't wondering if those warnings were real anymore.
By 7:02 a.m., the roads weren't empty anymore. They were confused. Cars crawled without direction. People leaned out windows, asking strangers questions nobody could answer. And every gas station sign already flashed out of service, even though nobody remembered fuel trucks stopping overnight. I went back inside and turned every channel on at once. News, weather, sports, local traffic cams, even the old movie channels. All of them had the same banner across the bottom. Global event, cause unknown. Different anchors, same fear. One reporter stood outside a church parking lot littered with shoes and folded jackets. Another showed an airport runway filled with grounded planes. A shaky helicopter camera hovered over a freeway pileup where multiple vehicles had simply rolled until they hit something solid. No explosions, no attack, no storm, just absence. Then the signal glitched. Every channel flickered black. For a second, I thought power went out, but the lights stayed on. The refrigerator hummed. Outside, sirens continued. Then one image appeared. Not a news station logo, not a government seal, just a plain room, a wooden desk, and a man sitting behind it. He looked normal, mid-50s maybe. Tired eyes, wrinkled shirt like he hadn't slept. No background graphics, no introduction, just him leaning forward toward a camera like he didn't trust microphones. When he spoke, every channel carried his voice perfectly clear. Listen carefully. If you are seeing this, you were not taken. My stomach tightened. He swallowed hard before continuing. We don't understand the mechanics yet, but the pattern is consistent worldwide. The missing individuals share a specific belief system. We have consulted religious leaders, historians, and we cannot ignore the correlation. His hand trembled on the desk. Many warned about an event described as a sudden gathering of believers, instantaneous. We dismissed it as metaphor. We were wrong. Outside, someone shouted in the street. Inside, nobody on television interrupted him. No logos covered him, no lower third captions. Every network simply surrendered airtime. The man leaned closer. There will be attempts to explain this scientifically in the coming days. New leadership structures will emerge. People will offer comfort, solutions, unity. But I am speaking to you before narratives replace reality. He paused like the next words cost him something. If the event matches the description, then what follows also matches it. My throat went dry. He continued. Global instability will increase, not immediately in obvious ways. At first, it will look like cooperation, peace proposals, rapid rebuilding, hopeful language. But the texts warn that deception becomes most convincing after relief. Daniel called me. I answered without looking away from the screen. "You're watching this?" he whispered. "Yeah." His eyes. He believes what he's saying. On TV, the man opened a small book beside him, worn, marked with notes. "I spent my career studying ancient writings academically," he said quietly. "Today, I read them as instructions." He looked straight into the camera. "You still have time to seek truth. Do not wait for consensus. Do not wait for proof that satisfies comfort." The warnings were never about predicting the day. They were about being ready when the day had already happened. His voice softened. Because after the gathering comes the choosing. The broadcast cut instantly. No static, no sign-off. Every channel returned to reporters shouting over each other as if nothing unusual had interrupted them. But outside, the neighborhood had gone silent again. People were standing in the street staring at their phones, all knowing they'd just heard the same message. Daniel spoke softly into my ear. "My grandma used to say the world wouldn't end first, it would continue." I stepped onto the porch and looked at the sky once more. Morning sunlight filled the street, ordinary and bright, like life was trying to pretend nothing had changed. But everything felt measured now, like a clock had started after we noticed it too late. And for the first time that day, fear wasn't loud. It was patient.